the Bombay technologists, I extend a very warm welcome to all of you to the second part of our research paper writing workshop. As most of you know, the first part of this workshop, which was held on the September 29th, was a tremendous success. We had with us Dr. Anant Kapdi, our convener, who guided students through the fundamentals of research publishing. The event began with an introduction to our associate editor professors from across departments, followed by a brief history of the Bombay Technologist, which is India's oldest student-run scientific journal. One of the most memorable moments of that event was the launch of the new logo of the Bombay Technologist. Dr. Kapdi then conducted an insightful session explaining the type of research papers, publication ethics, and guidelines for authors. The audience was also highly interactive, with questions flowing throughout the talk, and the evening concluded with a Q&A session and remarks from Dr. Baume from the Department of Mathematics. Overall, the first part laid the perfect foundation for today's session, giving us clarity on what research papers are and why publishing responsibly matters. Today, in the second part, we'll be diving even deeper, moving from understanding research papers to actually writing and structuring them effectively. This session aims to equip us with the practical aspects, from building a strong abstract and introduction to presenting data and crafting impactful discussions. It is truly an honor to once again welcome Dr. Anant Kapdi, Professor at the Department of Chemistry and convener of the Bombay Technologists. Sir's dedication to promoting student-led research and his passion for nurturing young scientists is truly inspiring. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Kapdi to conduct the second part of the research paper writing workshop.
Good evening, everyone. See, before we move forward, last time, if you remember, we were discussing about the various types of research papers. So I just want to give you like a few of these examples that would give you an idea that how they are written, what space is available, what is the type of novelty we are expecting. So the first type, as we already know, is communication. Communication was a very short article, something which talks about very high novelty of the material that we have created, and we need to convince people in the least amount of space available that what about the novelty, what has been done previously, and what you have achieved. So this article, for example, if you can just go down, this one, if you look at it, is just 3 pages, okay, called as chemical communication. If I have to give a gist of it, it is mainly about some process which has never been achieved. People were trying to propose various types of mechanisms. The propositions were based on certain experience, but nothing fruitful or fundamentally strong evidence was ever given. So if you are able to get the evidence and convince that yes, this is exactly what people were talking about, we have got the crystal structures to prove it. That means we have isolated and we have confirmed that it does go through this process. Then that's complete novelty because no one else has ever reported this. This becomes a more fundamental part of your communication article. You want it to come outside fast is because people want to see this type of experience, this type of evidence at the earliest. Maybe that is based on some science which is going to elaborate, or it is going to grow over a period of time. If you see, references start literally from the second page itself, 2.5 pages. So you can imagine only 2 page and small amount is available for you to write and convince the reviewers and the editors that yes, this has a lot of novelty. Now this takes a lot of, first of all, thinking, is because you have to have a very clear idea about what's happening in the literature. You should detail it very well, but rather than using a lot of, writing part, we are always happy to write big essays, right? If you see English exams in your 8th, 10th standard, we want to always write big essays because that's what the marks are all about. Here, that is not allowed. You have to be very crisp. You need to know exactly how to explain your details in the least number of sentences, and that's what this article does that. Okay, that's about communication. The next one is the full paper. This is a massive amount of information that you have created, and just go on. Now if you go down, 17 pages, if you see 17 pages. Now what does it have? Just go down. Go on. Everything, whatever data you have got, characterization, chemistry, you have kinetic graphs, all the various type of evidence, everything what you can expect for a full paper, which means maybe a communication had come out first. You didn't have that much space now available to show everything. In this case, now you go on talking about the whole scope, everything which you can achieve for your chemistry or catalyst or whatever material you have made. Every detail of it can be shown very effectively. Okay, 17 pages. This was first was only 3. This one is 17 pages. And now you see, if you go below, it is not just references but even characterization. You can see this data. So all the characterization details, the material. So in case of physics, for example, materials which you prepare, TEM, SEM, XRD, all these details what you create, every detail of it explained very well, that becomes a full article. Okay, the page limit is not there, so you can go on till even 100 pages as well if you have that much data. Okay. The next one, we are talking about reviews. This one is a full review. Just look at the number of pages. This is me and my boss. 27 pages. Okay. This was one of the first that I had written when I came back from Germany. Now this talks about, let's say, anti-cancer agents. Whatever has happened last 20 years, whoever has prepared these complexes, they have got data on it. No one has been able to compile this type of review. Probably you have seen in the literature that everyone has given short reviews of 5 years, 2 years. But you have the chance now to write a full review. Now, just to tell you, ChemSoc review is impact factor 60. Chem review is impact factor 75. While general papers has impact factor 5, 10, 12. Why? Because a ChemSoc review or a review article or a review publication is viewed and cited more. If you cite even 2 reviews in your paper, that kind of take care of everything which has happened in the last 20 years. You can have 27 pages, probably the biggest in recent times was 150 pages. The problem is, if you have that much time, great. If you don't have that much time, even a 10 or 15 page article if you write, that's good enough. But here, if you see, just go below the reviews, number of references, it's gone beyond 100 already. It's almost going to 226. And in some cases, it can reach up to 300, 350 references. That's how you can show that this is a very, completely, it's not a concise one, it is a complete review. So it is depend on you. In most cases, you would probably prefer to go for this one, a full review. Okay. That next one is what we said as tutorial review. Someone who is a very experienced professor wants to attract the undergraduates to this new area which is there. If you see, the number of pages is still pretty big, but it is written in such a way that it's very fundamental, very simple language. What we like for, let's say, undergraduates who would not know what are the various jargons. And if I say there are many metal catalytic processes which are happening, there is a lot of catalytic reactions which are happening in this field, and this is the active site. Very difficult for a child to really understand what's happening here. So you make it very simple to give them the data, or sometimes represent to show what is really happening, what is the active site. Because not all the papers talk about this. I think this is something which you should also try. When you are writing a review, don't talk about the flowery way of writing. Flowery way of writing is good only for your books, that also storybooks. In case of science, it should be very simple, straightforward. Someone should read it and kind of understand that it's very close to their heart. It's something which they can understand, they can realize. Put structures which are very simple. which is easier for you to understand, definitely others will appreciate that. Okay? You can see everything very nicely, clearly defined structures. Most of the times, the other structure, these big structures might not come, and you might see just a structure in a paper. For a scientific perspective, for a scientist, it's much easier. But how would you understand what it really means? So color coding has been given. If you see, the middle structure has a 6-membered ring that is specifically called something. Then you have aldehydes which have been designated. Maybe they are the reactive species. Everything which is scientifically more enriching for an undergraduate or a master's. That is how the reviews are written as tutorial reviews. Okay. This is the last one, perspective. Very, very, just read the title. Compelling reasons for repairing human germ lines. Now, who does that? To be honest, all the biotechnologists, chemical biologists, mainly the molecular biologists, they will be working on this. But this is a very high-level topic, something which is not going to be very close to us. But why is it so important? Probably in the current era, this might be one of the hottest topics people want to work in. Generally, this will go into biomedical engineering. If any one of you want to go there, but want to know exactly what's happening there, how many pages are there? Maximum 3. Very short, very precise, and a very high quality review. Most of this as perspectives will come in top quality journal like Nature, Angewandte Chemie, and all these journals. Why? Because scientists would like to have very high impact. The area also is very high impact. You would not see perspectives all the time in ChemComs. And if a perspective does have to come into ChemCom, that again has to be written in such a way that it highlights some specific area. Chemistry, it's CH1 functionalization, currently photocatalysis, electrocatalysis. Someone wants to only highlight 5 or maximum 10 papers which are the current state of the art. So it's mainly a state of the art review about what's happening currently in this area. Not always that you will write this. Okay? Even in a volume, let's say, you will not see many perspectives. You will see one perspective every volume and probably few these other tutorial reviews and like that. Full papers or full reviews, maximum, because everyone can write it. That's very general. Okay? I think we'll end this. This is kind of a completion of the first part. Now we'll go on to the second part. Now the questions which are coming to our mind is, we have understood what type. How do I write it? And first of all, why do I write it? So the why do I write it is a question which you will have to answer. Okay. So why should I write it? I think it's more like a personal question. If you want to write something, we discussed this last time, that if you publish something, not just in BT, BT will be just the starting point. I think later on you want to publish something in international journals. Some guidelines could be followed. Probably there are guidelines which are also given, but how many of us try to read? Have you tried to read your own PDFs which are given by professors? And in the exam, I come to know that nothing of that sort has been written, and still the argument is, sir, you had taught us. Okay, so that is something which we should not do. We have also guidelines, but it's best that we talk about it so that we come to know. So what if I want to write something? Then my first interest will be, maybe I'm interested in research. I want to know more about an area. If I know more about an area, I would like to tell others as well. In that process, if I publish something, it also gives me recognition. Some bytes to be submitted into the LinkedIn and other profiles, and people can talk good things about me. I think it's important. But what you are doing is, you are kind of creating a service for the scientific community, which is probably from your age, who can connect with you, who can understand what perspectives you have. And overall, maybe in few years' time, you can become a scientist who can develop the art of writing papers. And writing is literally an art. Even speaking, for example, this might it might seem very easy that I can talk, but it takes years of experience to talk so fluently and probably on the context of what we are discussing about. It's not so easy, and that has to be a process. Same thing with guidelines in front of you. It makes your life easier, makes it easier for you to understand what all aspects you need to remember in order to have a good grasp on the type of article that you write, quality of the article you write, and at the same time you don't have this problem of plagiarism. If you later on come to know that BT has kind of slowly surpassed the percentage of plagiarism that will be setting as a bar. Commonly, if I say ICT on the university website, especially for PhD thesis submission, we allow around 10%. In BT, we have reduced that to 5%. International level, they might go even below that if it's Nature and others. I follow 0%. But for some of you, because you're starting for the first time, we'll put the criteria as 5%. What is this? Why 5%, and how do we take care of it is what we are going to discuss today. Okay? There are certain points. Okay, steps. Let's say steps for what? If you're working on a project, this will be told to you, because if you join a research project, a research group, they will kind of give you a detail of how to go about understanding the search engines, try to search for research articles, try to go do what is called as back referencing. Okay, all these details are given. But let's say you are a novice, you're not going into a research lab, and you want to write a review. What steps should you follow? These are the steps that you can choose. First is choosing a research topic. My question to you is, how do you choose a research topic? Let's say you want to write a review. How do you choose on what topic would you write? Anyone has idea? Okay, fine, because we are ICT, so industrial relevance has to be there. Very good. I would say industrial relevance, मुझे क्यों? लेकिन ठीक है. It is we who have to first have the perspective. So if someone says industrial relevance, I think that's a good first starting point. Industrial relevance for what? Or of what? For what and of what? So any idea on that?
Maybe maximizing the yield of something.
So it could be a process. Okay, industrial processes. Industrial processes are thousands. Unit processes are many. So now you think about one unit process. Any one unit process that anyone can tell me? Just one unit process. Fine, distillation, very good. So what is required in distillation? Let's say distillation column, type of distillation column. Can you devise a distillation column? What type of distillation columns have been devised? What are the type of efficiencies they have achieved? Now, anyone has got any review where everything is given? Maybe it's a good topic to look at. Why? Because one day you will be working in that company and you might say to, oh, I have my own article. Don't go anywhere to look at what type of article, distillation apparatus or units. There are thousands. I have already enlisted them. Much easier, right? This is one topic which you have just created. Any other topic, let's say take one more unit process. Fantastic, chromatography. So now in case of chromatography, there are various instruments are there. Any one instrument you can give me, chromatographic? Fantastic, HPLC. HPLC is one of the best for purity check. You apply across the board. Any industrial chemical technology you take, engineering you take, everywhere HPLC is required. So now you have to refine that part as well, because if you go for a full-fledged, then it's vast again. Your area.
Maybe nutrition, nutraceuticals.
Perfect, nutraceuticals. So now HPLC, detailing or profiling of nutraceuticals. Great topic. You can see how you can start refining just by asking simple questions to yourself. This is one thing which students have come to me, how do I choose? How do I choose is simple questions asked to yourself. This could be a starting point. Okay, I have talked about unit processes. Someone is interested in catalyst? At least bolo yaar, mere liye to bola. Okay, good. So which catalyst? Most of the time industry is all heterogeneous catalyst. So you say heterogeneous catalyst. Now you say what processes? You say hydrogenation. Hydrogenation for what? You say fats, fatty acids and everything. One by one, you start getting an idea that this is the path that I want to take. Let's say you are discussing with some PhDs, masters who have already worked on that. They give you a slightly more perspective. This is the starting point, choosing a topic. Same thing from physics point of view, same thing from maths point of view. Ask these relevant questions, create kind of a chart of where do you end up, and that will be your topic of research. That's what you are going to work on. Don't take 2 months to think about these questions. It is best that if I spoke to you today, it is best that you give half an hour to yourself today, and that will create a topic without much time. You might also see there are people who are having commonalities, common views. Get hold of them. You have one more person who can contribute towards the writing of the research. Always better if you have 2-3 people, you can divide the work and you can come out with a very good review. लेकिन एक problem मैं बताता हूँ. If there are 3 people and one person wants to just get the name, 2 people work and the third person is very happy to sit. The choice comes back to you. You need to put efforts together, equal, because the paper suggests that finally when you write the names on the paper, it's equal work and the amount of work which gets represented on the paper. Okay? Just because they were smiling and got some chocolates for you, that doesn't mean that they get onto the paper. That also we'll discuss later. Finding information. Now one easiest way is which one? Where do you find information? ChatGPT, fantastic. That's a good idea. Good idea for you, not for us. ChatGPT will throw up the answers as the questions are coming. Okay? We ask the questions to ourselves as humans. Why do I want an AI to answer that for me? So I have Google already. And if you put something in Google, nowadays Google also has this AI as a first part. It's good to read. It's very good to read that. But I have always seen that when they throw up that answer, there is no evidence available for the reference they are giving. Simple, in the morning I was checking something. The first part was the AI generated answer of Google. And you click on that reference part. And I'm looking everywhere. Where is that molecule? Nothing is there. So it generalizes. It suggests that this could be happening. But the reference giver is something else. You need to have that clarity of thought yourself, how much you should believe on ChatGPT or AI. My question is, you are writing the paper. All the acknowledgement should come to you. Why are you giving it to the AI fellow? Because we will catch hold of you. The first thing which happens is you put this paper into Turnitin or any of these plagiarism softwares, it shows up. Because what AI does is gets all the information and puts up in front of you. It's much easier now to even check whether it's come directly from ChatGPT. So I would suggest Google, simple Google to start off with. But how? Let's say, what was the topic we were talking about?
Purity of nutraceuticals using chromatography.
Okay, so purity profiles of nutraceuticals using HPLC. Okay, on Google, what will you write? The full sentence?
Nutraceuticals HPLC.
Profiling of nutraceuticals. Let's say you write that only first. You will start getting some hits, some papers. Check, download them and see whether HPLC is included in that or not. First and foremost thing. If you see that yes, it is included, I think you are going in the right direction. You get few papers, good. Now you try to refine it further. You say high efficiency HPLC profiling of nutraceuticals. High efficiency is one more word. What will it do? Slightly more refined Google search. Now it will throw up some papers which has that detail that maybe it's gone up to 98, 99, 99.5%. That's how the details will get refined all the time. So this is simple Google search, okay, which we have everyone on our laptop and mobile. But then there are various others as well. If you go to the library, this is one of the most advanced library, to be honest. In Mumbai, there are only 2 or 3 libraries which are as high quality as ICT. There's one which is TIFR, not directly TIFR as such. There is a Tata library which is there. We used to use it way back. And then if you go to IIT Bombay. Now IIT Bombay is not accessible to us, although they also have very high quality, all the journals do. But here, ICT and most of the institutes now under the umbrella of government. So government gives you direct access and you can access that from our library. So you have options of going for search engines. SciFinder, Scopus. Same idea as Google, but Google is a generalized search. These are scientific search. So every point what you make on these, you will get very, very clear and only papers related to that area, nothing else. Let's say in some cases you don't want just papers, you want patents as well. Because patents show high efficiency and something which is commercially available. Now you want to write something details about that in your review as well, right? Patents will also show up. There is always a refining point. What they do, you can delete publications and you can only get refining for patents. In some cases you remove patents and you only go for publications. Sometimes you don't want 1950s onwards. You want to have a refined search from let's say 2000 onwards to 2020. You can give the timelines and only those papers which are coming in that era will come up. You can export it, not just as a publication, but as an Excel file. If you get the Excel file in 1 minute itself, you will have, let's say, 100 papers as profiles in front of you with a link. Click the link anytime you want, directly takes you to that web page, download the paper. Then when you're starting to profile that whole review, you will have access to your own database. Why do you want to do anything further? This is taking some time, going to the library and trying to talk even to the librarians, people who are there. They know all these things. Sit as a group, talk about it, and I can assure you, if you are in the first year, second year, whichever you are, at this stage, if you are able to do a good search, you know, companies used to come and pay us to do this type of searches, and they pay even 50,000 rupees just to get a search, but a refined search. So you can imagine if your review doesn't get published, you at least will have a job of doing some patent search for the company, and still it will pay you more. Okay, that's what does consultancy. Come to me afterwards, I'll tell you about this. Okay. Now, books, don't worry. Decide, now you can read research papers, you can read books. Books, why? Fundamentally, it's said that ICT students are the top in case of fundamentals and everything. Okay, come on. Really? देखो पीछे तो सो गए. सच में देखने लगे, भरोसा भी नहीं